All right, everybody, the Brock is back with special guest, my good friend Bryan. Bryan, how you doing today?
How about you?
That's all good. It's all good. All right, so we're doing a preview for Payback, but it's other stuff going on that we had to get into before we get into our Payback preview. We started discussing this, but now we got to really get into it. Jinder Mahal, your thoughts, sir?
You know, Jinder Mahal he's special. This is the first guy since Roman Reigns that they've tried to push so hard. But with Roman, at least he had a few matches under his belt before they tried to push him. I think Vince has finally lost his mind. How do you justify a guy? He's won, one match by himself. Before this, they had him tagging with Rusev. So it was the third wheel for Lana and Rusev.
Now, I do believe that this was Rusev's spot, but the injury caused Rusev to, because they don't want to put Nakamura in the main event just yet. They're trying to back AJ out of it.
Yeah, I can see that. Nakamura and Dolph Ziggler, I think, is perfect. I don't see who else you could match that well. With this heel push for Ziggler. On a side note, if something doesn't happen with Ziggler on this heel run, I think it's kind of it. Impact trying to rebrand and rebuild. They're going to start coming after him hard because they need somebody with a name and a face.
Well, I think Ziggler is the worst case of WCW not being around.
I think you're right.
Because, if there was another big company, a WCW, let's say, and let's say they're clear number 2, they have national TV, Ziggler would have been gone a long time ago.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's this is one of those guys that Eric Bischoff would have chased like he was a dog and had bacon in his pockets. Like, he'd have gone after Ziggler like tomorrow wasn't common. Same thing with the Miz.
The only time I've liked Miz is recently, the build up to this past WrestleMania.
Miz,
the months before that and the build up to that.
Miz is one of the surprise top heels right now. I like it. I like the run that he's doing now. Bringing Maurice back in and having, her. He's kind of building his career on the back of his wife being back.
But that's pretty cool though. Like, I give him props for that, because I never was a Miz fan, but I mean, the last WrestleMania with John Cena was better built than the one he main evented with John Cena.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, the match was crap, but
no, it wasn't about the match though.
Right.
We had folks wanting to get married, and they had the biggest stage in the world.
Right.
And
Cena got a movie to do. He got a $200,000 ring in his pocket, so
yeah, he can't just have a match
right
with your house and my house in his pocket.
Right. Plus, I think Nikki was hurt, and so it wasn't too much she can do. So
yeah, well, Maurice has got 5-6 years of ring rust.
Right.
When's the last time she was in a match? So you knew they weren't going to do much of anything. So, and I don't know. I think me and everybody else that saw that match, you two probably, thought that if Cena didn't propose to Nikki Bella on this thing.
See, I was such an a-hole. I was hoping that he did. No, I was hoping that she said no, because that's how much of an a-hole I am. Because just something like.
If she had said no, their characters would have been interesting for the first time ever.
Right. Because, here's my thing. Okay, I grew up watching Memphis wrestling, and I always liked NWA stuff more. And so the Southern stuff is always bad guy. You know what I'm saying? Just driven on bad guys.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's not just the Mid-South and the Memphis markets. Look at Charlotte. The greatest heel of all time, if not, Mr. McMahon, the character, is Ric Flair.
Exactly.
He carried Charlotte as the dirtiest player in the game for years.
Right.
And then WCW, he carried WCW. So, him and Sting.
And see, and Vince's booking style is babyface. Because, if you go back and look at their history, Bruno Sammartino 8-year reign. Like everybody wanted to see Bruno win. They gave the people what they wanted every time. Now they're not giving the people what they want. Now they're telling the people what they want you to have. And
Yeah, that's the thing with Roman Reigns. I'm a fan. I like Roman. He was my favorite guy in the Shield. I just thought they could have done more stuff with him. That's not to say the other two guys from the Shield aren't amazing.
right.
So they're the greatest three-man team in the sense that all three of them have held the big belt. You know.
To me, the thing with Roman, it was Daniel Bryan's turn. And the people did not let go. And I think that's really what it is. People still haven't let go of it.
I've heard that argument. And that's the thing is when you've got that many people, they know what they want. It's like at Mania this year for the ladder match for the tag teams. When the crowd started chanting delete, if anybody else had gone in there other than the Hardy Boys, it was over.
Right. It was the pay-per-view over. It's like the Royal Rumble when Rey Mysterio comes out. First time ever Rey Mysterio gets booed because they were looking for Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with Ray.
Yeah, no,
Booed the crap out
that
of
sucks.
Batista. You know.
So that sucks. Ray's one of my top 10 all time. I mean, he built, if you're watching Lucha Underground, he built Lucha Underground, or they built it on him. I love Ray. I like the high flyer stuff. You know, and you can watch that too and see some of the talent that they let go. Justin Gabriel, PJ Black, John Morrison, guys like that.
You know, one interesting guy I saw recently, Michael Corleone, Mark Jindrak.
Yeah.
Dude is, and like if you look at Bobby Lashley, like these dudes have really become really good. Like, and the thing about Lashley, I heard a shoot interview and they were like, basically, we got to hide Lashley from Vince because if Vince ever sees him, he's going to bring him up way too early.
Yeah, Lashley.
Which is what happened.
Lashley is Brock Lesnar. In every sense of the word, Lashley is Brock Lesnar. If you put the two in the octagon, I think Lashley would kill Brock Lesnar given the opportunity. I'm a fan. He does the meanest spear in the business.
Right. I mean, Lashley has gotten really good. And like I said,
he can't talk to save his life.
Hey, when you look like that, like I'm sorry, Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley, Goldberg, guys that look like that don't have to talk.
Goldberg can talk better than neither one of them though. Goldberg's kind of in his own thing though.
But listen, Goldberg.
But we were kids when we saw him the first time, so we're gonna mark out for Goldberg like we did when we were 12.
Exactly.
So
true. But at the same time, when you got a guy like Goldberg, I mean, really just run him in there, run over everybody, get him out of there. You know?
And that's exactly what they did, and it was perfect.
Oh yeah, because the WrestleMania match between Brock and Goldberg was just, that's what you do. Like they just did their moves. It was only 3 moves the whole match, but it was like exciting. It was the second most exciting match.
Brock's got a F5, and that's about it, dude.
Right. Suplex F5, you know.
Yeah, you see that, you know it's gonna be over, and Goldberg's not one of those guys like Dean Ambrose that's gonna catch an F5 or a German suplex and go 15 feet in the air every time. Dean is his generation's Mick Foley. If they would just let everyone take as much punishment as they could take, I mean, Dean would be limping already.
See, I think they look at Mick Foley and say, okay, yeah, that's why we can't leave you guys to your own devices.
Mick Foley, a cautionary tale.
Right. Because I love Mick Foley, man. I'm a huge Mick Foley fan. I go back and look at the stuff, and then I was like, oh, yeah, they can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I watched the Rumble between The Rock and Mick Foley.
Yeah.
It's like, no, they can't ever do this again.
No. No, there's only so many times you can change wardrobe and pretend to be somebody else and the limp try and hide.
Right.
I mean, you can't get Dude Love over now, I don't think. But unless you brought Eugene back, I think Dude Love could get Eugene over maybe.
I don't know. I think Mick could, like, I think certain guys could just translate any era. Like, okay, example, Eugene. I actually remember seeing Eugene before he got into the WWE when he was doing Smoky Mountain. He did a little bit here in Memphis.
Yeah.
The dude was good, man. Like, dude was a really good wrestler. It's just, he gets there, Eugene.
I heard an interview with Chris Jericho, and I've heard him say it a few different times, that you remember the Goon? Yeah. He's convinced the Goon was created for him. If he didn't go to WCW and he came into the WWF at the time, he would have been the Goon because his dad was the original Goon in the NHL.
You know, it's funny if you hear Jim Cornette talk about all the stupid little gimmicks in that area.
Yeah.
Because, like, good wrestlers, like Tracy Smothers is Freddie Joe Floyd.
Yeah.
And the Dirty White Boy is T.L. Hopper. And Jim Cornette was talking about, hey, let's just get these guys, give them a few wins, and then that way we can have our actual stars beat them. Instead, they just brought them in and killed them all.
Yeah. No, what was the Rumble that they did where they brought in everybody with the rib gimmicks and they threw them all into the ring together? So you had like the Gobbledygooker and you had like Doink number 17 and
oh yeah, the gimmick battle royal.
Yeah. It's like all of those guys. You could see somebody brought them in and paid them money to come in and do this. Guys that were trained wrestlers that did something else somewhere else and had to have gotten over. They wouldn't have been on Vince's radar. So you bring them in. You get these really crap gimmicks and you throw them in there together. Like, what was the expectation? I mean, it's like, did you let Hulk Hogan book everybody for him to beat?
Well, you know, I saw Hulk Hogan's WCW contract, and if the WWF contract was anything like that, Hulk Hogan probably booked everybody he wanted to beat.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he had all those guys were his friends, like the King Kong Bundys. And these are the guys, he liked working with bigger guys.
Yeah.
It's, a few exceptions like Macho Man, but he didn't want to work Rick Rude.
If he didn't have bigger guys to work, then Hogan didn't look like the super over baby face beating the monsters. Like, Hogan is... dude, I don't know what all we can say on this podcast.
Go ahead,
all right. So, that... Hogan is just sitting at home just beating off every time he sees Braun Strowman just wanting to get in the ring with him. Because he's like, oh, yeah, brother. Dude, we could really tear it up. Did you see what he did with Joe? That would make me look so awesome.
Right. I mean, because that's his whole thing. Like, just the big Herculean comeback and just, but it has to be a bigger guy. Like, well, Macho Man, Macho Man was a wild man, so you could get away with it. Ric Flair is Ric Flair.
Oh, yeah.
But for the most, like saw a story where he did not want to wrestle Rick Rude.
I could see that because what does Hogan have to gain from wrestling somebody smaller than Hogan?
Right, and the way they talk about Rick Rude, like Rude was a real tough guy. Like you didn't want that.
Yeah, he wasn't good with the shooters. I'm sure you've heard the story about him and Kurt Angle.
Yes.
About him saying, "What's up with the Olympic kid, brother? He's a little stiff ski."
Yeah,
and it's like. Hogan doesn't want to really get into a fight. It's just like Goldberg. Goldberg didn't really fight anybody.
Right.
But you don't hear either one of them saying they could take on Harley Race in his prime or anybody like that. You
hear very, very few people say they want to take on Harley Race.
No, or Wahoo McDaniel or any of those cats.
Haku's like the number one guy on everybody's list, and I think Ron Simmons is pretty high. The Steiners are pretty high. And just certain guys like everybody knows not to mess with. And
Ron Simmons of the greatest catchphrase of all time.
Yes, sir.
Damn.
Maybe the toughest actual tag team of all time, him and Butch Reed.
Yeah. I think JBL would argue that point, but
well, the fact that he got knocked out by an announcer.
Yeah.
But okay, I do want to talk about JBL a little bit too.
Yeah.
They talk about JBL's bullying, and let me just say this: I'm not saying it's right to bully people, but from JBL's standpoint, me being the type of person I am, because you know me, I always kind of just jab at people,
Yeah.
I do that.
I know this well, sir.
Right. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just playing. Like, but this just me though.
Yeah.
And I'm constantly that long as you throw something back, we all good.
Yeah.
That's the thing about
No,
me.
I remember a time when we were both younger and in band and I couldn't step on a bus without hearing Friday night twin fight. Tuesday night twin fight. Something. And it became like a badge of honor. If I didn't hear anything, I'd be like, did I make somebody mad? What the hell happened? So, no, I totally get it, dude. I'm the same way.
Right. So, it's like, so, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think, he was probably a little bit more vicious, but at the same time,
yeah.
It just, I just do that with my friends. I just mess with my friends, just have fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just me.
The problem is, and you know how people change their behavior when they have a guilty conscience? Have you listened to JBL over the last 2 or 3 weeks on his commentary?
Yes.
He's even complimenting Byron Saxton. And nobody can do that.
I can't stand Byron Saxton, man.
I don't know anybody who can.
Now, here's my thing.
He's like Bailey on commentary.
I hope this isn't true, but like, I noticed that all the commentating teams are like 3-man teams, and it's always the one black dude. Me as a black dude, let me just say this: I do not have to have Byron Saxton or David Otunga on my TV, or Percy Watson. It's like, if you're just gonna hire a black dude, at least hire a black dude that can do the job.
The Rainbow Coalition of Professional Wrestling, being me and the Brock, I co-sign with my partner.
That's all I'm saying. I mean, Teddy Long would be better at that than.
Yes.
He's just old. But.
Teddy Long would be better at anything. I love Teddy Long. Like, if they, whatever they want to give him a paycheck for, give him a paycheck. I will watch him all night. Booker T, same thing.
Right. But I just don't have to see Byron Saxton.
No.
Like, I kind of understand the Otunga thing, because Otunga's like a real lawyer, a Harvard lawyer. And,
Yeah.
And women like him, because the last girl I dated, just every time he was on TV, she just shut me up. I'm like, he ain't even doing nothing. But I digress. But still, I mean, he's a Harvard educated lawyer, so I understand why you want that guy around.
I understand. Same reason my wife has been watching Criminal Minds since it started. Until Shamar Moore left, and now she doesn't watch it anymore. I understand.
Oh, yeah, don't get me started on Shamar Moore.
Oh, yeah. I know.
Yeah, I mean,
Trust me, I know.
Right. Because I can see, like, in a few years, Xavier Woods being a commentator or something like that. But I think Xavier would be good at that. But these other guys have no personality at all.
Woods would be a good face commentator. I don't know if I'm in the minority on this or not. I like New Day as faces instead of as heels. I liked him as heels. He had a good run, but they fit better as faces. And I know I'm in the minority when I say that I don't want to see New Day split up.
Honestly, I don't want to see them split up. I just would like to see them a little more serious.
I want to see them do more singles matches because they're all three great competitors, and there's no reason that Big E is not in the conversation for greatest big man in the company, other than the fact that he's part of a tag team. Kofi, and my issue with the Cruiserweight title, I love that style of wrestling. I'm a big Lucha Underground fan. I love Lucha Libre in general. I love that style. But by titling them cruiserweights, you taking guys that could really compete on that level and that style of wrestling off the table, because what you're saying by the cruiserweight title, they can't be in the main event. You're saying these guys are separate. It's not like, for all the faults that TNA had, they had the X division, which is what they're trying to do with the cruiserweights. Now you've taken AJ Styles off that table. You've taken Finn Balor off that table. And you're going to tell me Austin Aries is a cruiserweight, but Finn Balor isn't? Balor's a $190.
True.
Aries has got, 20 pounds on him?
Right.
But Aries is a cruiserweight?
I think Daniel Brown's like a $180 maybe.
See? Or Kalisto. Kalisto's got to be 160.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely
160, 170. And he's not in the cruiserweight division?
You know, the one thing TNA did right was the early days of the X division. That's like the one thing they did right. And I see your point. And the other thing about the cruiserweight division, a lot of the cruiserweights wrestle like the big guys, so
yeah,
you don't want to see smaller guys do that. Now, fortunately, Neville is there.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, I love Jack Gallagher. Like,
I can't watch the dude, man. I don't know what it is. He reminds me of those kids we used to stick in lockers in middle school. And it bothers me. I don't know what it is.
True, he does look like one of those kids, but I mean the head, but I'm sorry, like when he hits people with the head, but it gets me every time.
Do you watch New Japan?
I have not seen it lately, no.
All right. Did you ever see the guy Honma, the guy that used to do like the Dusty Rhodes elbow drops, but he did it with his head? So he'd like stand there and he'd get up on his toes and get stiff, and then he'd fall and hit somebody with his head. That was supposed to be his finisher.
I have to YouTube him now.
Yeah. You won't see anything recently. He's out with a spinal injury, presumably from headbutting. But that's going to happen to Gallagher, or Gallagher, as he likes to be called. He's Gallagher. I'm not calling him Gallagher.
But Austin Aries and Neville, like that's what you have as far as your cruiserweights. I did like Cedric Alexander in the Cruiserweight Classic.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, the Japanese guy that he lost to. Blanking on his name.
I know who you're talking about because that was the guy Kendrick was after in the storyline to be his protege or whatever for a while.
Right. No, they haven't brought him. He hasn't been on.
Oh, okay.
He hasn't been on TV yet.
Was he on NXT or what?
Nah, he just did the Cruiserweight Classic.
Oh, okay.
He actually wrestled Nakamura in Japan for the IWGP title, and I think he wrestled AJ a couple times too.
I'll look it up.
I'm blanking on his name for some reason.
I'll look it up.
But yeah, if they bring him in and they have him with Neville, like I said, it has potential because I think they're just taking their time. Well, they have to build guys up.
Yeah.
And Neville is the only known quantity, and then Austin Aries is like the next. I mean, he's the most experienced guy, so he can get himself over quicker than everybody else.
Yeah, I like TJ Perkins too, but he's not doing anything.
Charisma is not
he won
there.
the Cruiserweight Classic, and then it's the same reason he got let go from TNA.
Right.
Is
the charisma just isn't there. Like I said, Austin Aries was a guy I was never worried about. I knew that once he got on TV, started talking, he'd be fine.
There's a reason why Ric Flair is the greatest of all time. And
Exactly.
people argue, no, it's Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels is the greatest in-ring performer right now until, 10 years from now when AJ Styles takes that title. But Ric Flair is the greatest because he could get over with anybody.
Right.
He could do anything with anybody.
A lot of the people, that will be listening to this and are on the internet all the time, what they don't understand is this is still a business. And
Yeah.
so you need a Hulk Hogan type guy that brings people into the arena. So his work rate doesn't matter because the people in the arena want to see Hulk Hogan, big boot, leg drop. Hulk up, big boot, leg drop.
And there's a reason that the greatest box office draw in the world right now is a professional wrestler. It's The Rock.
Right.
He can get over with anybody. It's the reason why you still have people saying, Stone Cold said so, son.
Right.
And they don't even watch wrestling, but they know what they're talking about.
Right. You want to be, when you get into the business, you want to be like the three biggest stars, Hogan, Rock, or Austin.
Yeah.
And I guess you can put Cena on the list because love him or hate him, I mean, the dude's money.
Dude, we're talking about a guy, and like you say, love him or hate him, Cena can get anybody over. He puts on a good match with anybody. He's one of the best workers ever. Now, for sure.
Right. When he had the U.S. title, it really proved it because he went out there with everybody and had that match with everybody.
Yeah. That run with Rusev was like Rocky IV every week, and you didn't want to see it. You didn't want to admit it was good.
Hey, I'm sorry. I'm a Rusev fan, man. That's like the biggest baby face in the company. Well, Strowman is now, but Rusev is like the company is so backwards to be like Rusev was like the biggest baby face. Like when he gave Roman Reigns the line of all Samoans do is put turkey legs and mayonnaise. I almost died laughing. Like,
Yeah.
Or the whole he walked up to Big E and Big Cass. He's like, why do they call you both big? I can see you're big. It's like them calling me handsome.
Yeah.
That was like, this is the number one baby.
And that's
face
when he
in the
became Handsome Rusev, right?
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. Rusev is funny. He works really well in the comedy bits. But I don't know. Last time I went to Raw back in September when they were in town in September, and I think he was doing a match with Seth Rollins. And this was when Rollins was really getting the first part of his babyface push after the Finn Balor incident, where it was like, oh no, you've hurt somebody else that the fans like to get behind. We got to turn you face real quick before people start booing you like Roman.
Because these buckle bombs are killing people.
I think the buckle bomb is done.
No, he hit Triple H with one at WrestleMania.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know how I missed that.
Yeah. He got Triple H. I just remember like, whoa, he buckle bombed him?
You hit the oldest man in the ring.
Right. Well, Triple H, that's Triple H's guy. He really believes in the big time. So I guess he'll take it just to prove a point. But
yeah. Dude, that's crazy. I don't know. I thought Spot of the Night was Stephanie going through a table. That was great.
That was cool. So hopefully she'll be off the TV for a while.
Yeah. No, I'm speaking of her off and Kurt Angle on. I'm loving him as a GM.
I'm pretty sure that Kurt Angle and Triple H are going to have a match at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
I'm like almost 100% on that.
Yeah, that's cool, dude. That's got to happen.
I think they'll restart the Stephanie, Kurt, Triple H angle again. That I would like to see that, I'm not going to lie. Because Kurt Angle is one of those dudes. I remember when he wrestled in Memphis, like, it was him. Albert was here at the time. Like it was a guy named Steve Bradley who I thought was like the next RVD.
Yeah.
Vic Grimes. I think Crash Holly. I forgot what he was calling himself when he was here.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was a crew, and I was like, man, I can't wait to see these guys. And of course, Kurt just a year in the WWF, he was just on another level.
Yeah. Yeah. The Olympic kid who's a little stiffsky. Yeah. I don't know, dude. I've got mad respect for Kurt Angle. Anybody get a gold medal with a broken neck? That's pretty awesome.
I'm just looking at his size versus the guys he was going against. Like everybody else was Brock size, and he's like 220.
Yeah.
And everybody else is 250, 260, huge. And Kurt Angle's my height.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen him up close. Like he's my height.
Yeah, and it's funny too. If you look at the guys that you really mark out over, are really the ones that are closer to your size. Yeah. My favorite guy, all time, people can argue it as much as they want. My favorite is Chris Jericho. I mark out over Jericho like I did when I saw him on WCW. I still think the 1004 holds is the greatest that was good. Spot of all time, the greatest promo of all time.
When he brought out Ralphus for the first time.
Yeah.
That was bad. Now, Jericho's I've always been a big fan of Jericho.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, though, my favorite wrestlers are The Rock and Jerry Lawler. Like,
that's some hometown love right there,
man, I'm
dude.
a Memphis guy, man.
That's hometown love, man. I can't take it from you.
I was at every Tiger game. You know me, man.
Yeah.
I'm a Memphis guy.
Yeah. I can't take that from you. Yeah, especially since they opened that new barbecue joint in Cordova, and I still haven't been out there yet.
Yeah, I went to this spot downtown.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's cool though.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess we can finally get into this Payback review.
Yeah, we could easily do this for the rest of the day.
Yeah, because this started with Jinder Mahal, and one more thing about Jinder Mahal. I'm sorry, I'm just upset about this because if you knew you were going to get the man a title shot, at least let him win like just 3 weeks in a row. Just give him a little winning streak.
Well, dude, I knew something was going on, and the booking committee was smoking something good when the last two guys in the Andre the Giant Battle Royale were Mojo Rawley and Jinder Mahal.
Well, see, I figured, okay, Grunk's Mojo's buddy, so they want to get Grunk in there.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm not a big Mojo fan, but come on. No, the third guy in there, Killian Dane.
Oh yeah.
It's like what?
Yeah.
So you throw out Big Show and Braun Strowman you throw out Braun Strowman, the guy that you've had just kill everybody for the last 6 months, and you throw him out first. Come on.
Well, dude, like if they're trying to set up Roman as the top babyface, the next Cena, if you will, if they're trying to set him up for that, then the only guy who can beat the ultimate evil, Braun Strowman, has to be the ultimate face, Roman Reigns. You've got Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan all over again, except for neither one of them are super over. I think Braun is going to be, I've said this before and I've had people argue, Strowman's going to go down as the greatest big guy of all time. There's no one who's been that big who's that athletic.
You know, here's the thing about Strowman. This is how I know Vince hasn't lost his mind. Because look at the way he's booked Strowman. Strowman looks great. Ever since they brought him back, they had him kill little guys, jobbers or whatever. And the whole time, this whole build that they've done with Strowman has been great.
He gave people without chins hope that even they could get a WWE contract.
Right. But the Strowman build has been the best build he's done of anybody in a long time.
Yeah. I mean, he's an 80s heel.
Right. And so that's how I know Vince hasn't lost his mind. Like, he hasn't lost it. He knows what he's doing. I think he's just screwing with us because we have the network. And since it's mostly diehards watching anyway, he can put out whatever because we're going to watch it anyway. Like, Tyler Breeze and Fandango are the number one contenders for the tag team belts. They haven't beaten anybody.
No, they haven't.
They got beat up by... Tyler Breeze got beat up by Nikki Bella. I like Tyler Breeze. I loved him in NXT. But he got beat up by Nikki Bella. And he's going to get a tag title match. Like it's just it's like they say, a backlash, hey, screw it. Let's just put anybody out there and see what happens.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the SmackDown tag team division. Like, I don't like the new angle they're pushing with the Usos. I don't get it. I don't know why they're doing it. I like the throwback to Maga's face makeup and everything. I thought that was cool. Yeah, they need to refresh the characters, but it's just a weird angle turn for them. American Alpha, yeah, they're athletic, but they're boring.
Yeah, it's the way they brought. I didn't like the way they brought him in. I loved him in NXT, but the first thing they did was have him beat everybody.
Yeah,
and it's like now who they're gonna face? They beat everybody.
the most interesting thing they had when SmackDown Live started was Heath Slater and Rhino. That was funny, and they worked really well together, and they looked really well. Like a match between them and Enzo and Cass would have been fantastic.
And the poor Ascension, those poor guys.
Dude.
Well, like the Colognes, they're good wrestlers, yes, but you've had them losing for like the last 6 months. They've been selling timeshares.
Yeah.
And then you bring them in like...
Come to my island.
Right, they're good. Don't get me wrong, but like the only one that had charisma is Carlito.
Yeah.
And those two are just kind of there.
I don't know. It's them and the Ascension. It's like they brought the Headbangers back for like 5 minutes. Why?
Well, see, they screwed the Ascension, man, when they brought them up. Like,
yeah,
the first promo they cut is on like the Road Warriors.
Yeah, you go back and you watch the stuff that they did in NXT. They were great in NXT, dude.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of that, I did watch some Jinder Mahal in NXT. Since they put it on the network, I wanted to see. Okay, so they saw something in this guy. And then the 3MB thing happened. I heard there weren't supposed to be jobbers, but Drew McIntyre got hurt.
Yeah.
So it ended up that way. They let the guys go. Jinder comes back. He looks like Batista. And they have him losing again.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, that's the only part I don't get. It's not that he's not good at what he does. It's just that just give a guy a win.
He has no charisma. He has no win record. They have not built the character for the push that they're trying to give him, and I think that's his issue. You can't just put somebody out there. It would have been like AJ Styles going into the Royal Rumble and then just walking up to whoever had a title, picking up their title, walking out, and, oh, he's the new Intercontinental Champion. He's one of the greatest performers in the world of all time. Yeah, he would deserve it. But they didn't build the character if they did it that way. And Jinder Mahal is a lesser known quantity that they haven't built. They haven't put any matches on him. He doesn't have a winning record. What matches he won other than the 6-pack challenge for the number one contendership?
I don't think he's won a match since then.
I don't think he won one before that. Because, they had Finn Balor come out, and Finn Balor squashed the guy.
Somebody tried to compare the two, Finn Balor and Jinder Mahal. Like, this guy comes up from NXT and immediately fights for the belt. But the difference is they treated Finn Balor like a big deal. They had the draft. They drafted him like third, and they treated it like, they treated him like he was going to come in and do this.
Yeah, well, Finn Balor came in, and they've built him as their Sting.
Right. They immediately. Give the guy a build. That's my main point. You just can't out of nowhere.
Yeah. Well, they treated him like they had NXT to build Finn Balor. And if you look at him, you look at a couple other cats, Samoa Joe, you look at Shinsuke Nakamura,
right? Just
Bailey. You look at people that stayed in NXT a year or two longer than they had to. They've invested in these cats. These are the guys going to the top of the company.
Or just like when they brought Kevin Owens up. They brought Kevin Owens up, and they made him look like a star from the get-go.
Yeah, so the first person they feud him with is the top guy in the company.
Right. So if you just bring a guy in and make him look like a star, it doesn't matter how long they have been there. It's just make it look like he's done something versus just throwing him in there and just say, screw it.
Yeah, you got to give him a badass push. If you're not going to get behind him and you're not going to build him. Look at the Hardys. The Hardys came back and they went straight to the top, but they brought their fans with them.
Right.
And they had fans from the first go around. I can imagine as somebody that doesn't know Matt and Jeff Hardy looking at them from the outside, you're like, why did these guys come in just run roughshod over the entire tag team division? Because I was sitting there watching it and I'm thinking, this is great. Jeff Hardy's in my top 5 of all time. Broken Matt Hardy is the greatest thing as far as a gimmick in at least the last 5 years. And Enzo and Cass's momentum was gone.
Yeah, I think they're going to break up Enzo and Cass.
I think so too.
I thought they were on that path earlier, and I think they kind of backed off of it because you can tell they like Big Cass.
Well, they're either going to break the two of them up, or Enzo's going to go to being a manager.
Right.
It's not a bad idea to bring managers back. If you look at other people that are rumored to be coming in, Maria Kanellis and Mike Bennett
Right.
are rumored to be coming into SmackDown. Maria's not going in the women's division.
No, not anymore. It's not.
No, I mean, she was great on TNA.
Right.
But if you look at her when it was Matt Taven and Mike Bennett as the Kingdom in New Japan, when they were Ring of Honor in New Japan, if you look at them and she was their valet manager, she was great in that role.
Well, the women that are there now, like a lot of the women that used to wrestle,
Yeah.
they can't come back.
Well, look at Eva Marie.
Right. Like
Eva Marie was a diva in the era of when, women could actually wrestle.
Now you still
in
should put
this
that chick on
company.
TV though.
So what?
You still should put that chick on TV.
Eva Marie?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Look at her. She needs to be on TV. She don't need to wrestle, but she needs to be on TV.
I need to do something with her. I mean, they built that look
Right.
enough.
Like her and Cameron, there was like two women that look. You just put those two women on TV. They don't have to wrestle, but you put those two women on TV.
Well, look at what they did with Alicia Fox on 205 Live.
Right. Put her on TV. She doesn't need to wrestle. But
She can play a character. She just can't work.
Right. When they look a certain way, put them on TV. But you can't expect them to get in the ring with the Charlottes and Naomi's and Becky Lynch. And,
Alexa Bliss.
Right. You still got Asuka at NXT.
Yeah.
And I like Ember Moon too, and Peyton Royce and
Ember Moon are going to be the next two big. I think
Peyton's getting pretty. I didn't like it at first, but she's getting pretty good. Nikki Cross and Ruby Riott, they got good wrestlers.
They've done something though with NXT now, where it's the true, Raw's your red brand, SmackDown's your blue. NXT's the yellow brand. I mean, they're as legit as anybody. I don't know why we still have a main roster and developmental roster anymore. I mean, I understand the developmental territory.
Yeah, there's still some people there that need a whole lot of.
But to the people who are on TV, like
the people on TV,
NXT fans, to them, there's no difference in this and SmackDown or Raw.
Well, see, to me, like the Oscars and Bobby Roode's are there to basically help out the younger people.
Like Samoa Joe, the exact same thing. He had 10, 15 years under his belt by the time he got there.
So it's really not about like Bobby Roode. Like Bobby Roode has the talent to be on the main roster and be a champion. But Bobby Roode is there to make sure like a guy like, I don't know, like well, I guess he wouldn't feud with anybody too green. But I would say like, okay, Ty Dillinger is a perfect example.
Yeah.
He feuded with all the new guys and those guys that were still kind of green. Versus like Bobby Roode is going to be feuding with guys that are going up to the main roster.
Look at Finn. I mean, Finn was top baby face. He's been a top baby face and a top heel all over the world.
Right. Finn was a guy. When they brought Finn, like that was a great roster. That period of NXT, I don't know if they ever have it that good again.
He's the founder of the Bullet Club. I mean, the greatest heel faction in professional wrestling. I mean, even our group on Facebook, we've got the Bullet Club logo for our background. Yes. I mean, the Bullet Club, and I wish they capitalize on it some kind of way.
I believe they will at some point. I believe they're going to put Finn together with Anderson and Gallows, and they're going to do this.
I think they lost their momentum when they put AJ on SmackDown and put them on Raw.
Yeah, but see, I thought that's why they put AJ on SmackDown, and they brought Finn up right after they put AJ on SmackDown.
But they put Finn on Raw with the other two.
Right, and see, Finn got hurt, and I think that is really what... I think that's really what killed it. Finn getting hurt.
I could see that if Finn was getting a heel push. He's getting a face push.
I'm not completely sure. And here's why I say that. Roman is the top baby face.
Yeah.
Seth is number 2. I think they always had a plan to go there.
Okay.
And so if that's their plan to go there, they got too much invested in Finn for Finn to be the number 3 guy down.
Finn and Roman could put on some hella matches
and
as top face and top heel.
They say Finn works better as a heel. And so
Finn Balor is his generation's Chris Jericho.
Right.
He doesn't have the charisma, but as far as working in the ring and the character he can build, he can be anybody he wants to be.
Right. And Finn is one of those guys, like, to me, it's like a Bret Hart. Bret Hart wasn't the most charismatic guy, but his in-ring was so good. You believe the match.
Yeah, you're right. and this is controversial, I think Roman's that good in the ring too.
Oh yeah,
The problem is everyone's against the guy.
See, people are just automatically hate. I don't hate Roman. I actually like Roman because I'm looking at the matches. Right, these matches are good. When you get to the end, toward the end of a Roman Reigns match, like you're on your feet, like, well, yeah, he gets you in there.
Yeah.
But people are just so determined to boo the guy.
And if you've ever seen him live, you've been in a room when his music hits and he comes out, there is many people cheering as there are people booing.
Right.
And you can hear the women screaming over the guys booing.
Right. The dude is a star. Like, to me,
yeah,
when they broke up the Shield, I'm sorry, Dean is the one I think should have won heel. Because
Yeah.
Seth just has a babyface moveset. And I wish they'd give him the curve stomp back because it's like the coolest move ever. But
it's a great heel move. I'll give you that. It's like, didn't they take the calf crusher away from AJ and they took the lion tamer away from Jericho where you can't stand on the back of their head anymore?
Right, it's just a Boston crab.
Yeah.
Like, one day I'm gonna do a show about finishing moves that just suck to me, and the Boston Crab is high on that list. Because all you're doing is like you're just giving the guy a little straight. If he's flexible like RVD, what is the Boston Crab really gonna do to RVD?
Not a thing.
Exactly, or the AA, but like I'll do that another show.
Or that weak looking front face lock that Rusev does for his submission, and
Right.
yeah.
Or Big E's finish where he just drops him on him. It's like it should hurt Big E more than the other guy.
Yeah.
The big ending, like, dude, no, they're falling on you.
I don't know. Him holding somebody back and slapping out New Day rocks.
Yeah.
I love that, dude.
Man, that could hurt because he's huge. But I mean, it's just some of these finishers they
Well,
hurt.
you and I are both short guys. Big E's hands is probably as wide as either of our faces.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would hurt.
Big E's pretty huge.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, like Stone Cold says this all the time on his podcast, but just the DDT should be a finisher.
Yeah.
You're dropping a guy on the freaking head.
Yeah.
Like that's a finish.
It's the closest thing to a pile driver that you have in the WWE anymore.
right.
Like that happens, it should be done. Because if that happens to you in real life, no kayfabe,
Right. You're out.
you're done.
You know, you could break your neck, concussion,
Yeah.
but like I said, I had to do a finisher. I had to do a weak finisher episode. So, all right, let's get to this payback card this Sunday. All right, so the match they have on here first: Enzo and Big Cass versus Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson. What you got, Bryan?
I want to say Enzo and Cass because I feel like the Hardys coming back killed their momentum, and you want to build them back up. Right now, and we'll get to them in a minute. Right now, you've got two tag teams that are over faces going for the title right now. Enzo and Cass, I think this is their win. I think this is kind of placating them and their fans for Mania. Because otherwise, they would have won. They had the momentum behind them. If the Hardys hadn't come in there, it would have been Enzo and Cass. I think, anyway. Anderson and Gallows, if you are going to go for a club type, if you're going to go for a new Bullet Club type faction, the time is now. You put them behind Finn Balor. I like that. I want to see that happen. If you've seen Bullet Club matches from New Japan with Anderson and Balor together, they put on great matches, dude, as tag teams. Anderson and Gallows are one of the top 5 tag teams in the world of all time. They're great, but I think you give this one to Enzo and Cass, and then Cass gets his solo push.
Well, if I was doing this, I would go Gallows Anderson, just for all the other reasons you just named. About, like I said, they have to look like a main event team. To me, they lost to New Day too many times. I like New Day,
I agree,
but New Day ran through the division so they could give them that record over Demolition.
I'm not saying they don't deserve it. If anybody deserves it, I mean, but you could put the belt on those two, and you could keep the belts on them for 2 years, and they could run over everybody that you bring up against them. But yeah, eventually you got to push the other guys, or your fans and everyone else start wondering why are you keeping them around. Right. So, and that's kind of the point we're at for Enzo and Cass. Let's give them a win as a tag team before Cass gets his big, singles push.
All right. Well, we're split on it first one. Next match, I think we will agree. Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho for the United States title.
I said it before, I'll say it again. Chris Jericho is personally, he's my favorite. He's the guy I mark out for like I did when I was a kid. I always want to see Chris Jericho win. Sometimes you have to suspend your disbelief. You get tied up in it and you want to see your heroes win. For me, that's Chris Jericho. That being said, Kevin Owens is keeping this. They've got too many good opportunities for him as a heel on SmackDown to bring him back to Raw. I did like the angle they were building with him and Samoa Joe as a heel faction with Triple H as like a new authority. But, it's time for some changes. And Kevin's been the top heel on Raw for a while. So, I don't know. I want to see a feud with him and AJ. I think it'll be good.
Yeah. Kevin Owens and AJ will be a great feud. And so, obviously, I'm saying Kevin Owens is going to win this match, and
that and Jericho is about to hit the road with his band. He's not going to be around much longer, not on a full-time basis anyway.
Plus, Jericho's the type of guy he gives the younger guys stuff.
He's not one of those guys. If he was on the booking committee, he wouldn't be another Dusty Rhodes that put himself over other people, or Hogan that booked himself over others. Right. And anybody that gets in the ring with Jericho, he's not to the point where he needs wins for his ego. He's trying to build. He cares about the company, or he wouldn't keep coming back. He's going to do what's best for business, and what's best for business is Kevin Owens keeps the title. So
we're in agreement on that one. Next match: Hardy Boys versus Cesaro and Sheamus.
Hardy's retain.
I'm with you there. I like Cesaro. And I'm mixed on Sheamus. Like, I do like Sheamus, but Sheamus has to be in there with certain people. Like, I think Sheamus would work great with Strowman. Because every time Sheamus is in there with somebody bigger than him, man, he's going to push that bigger guy. Like, that bigger guy's going to have to work when he's wrestling Sheamus.
Sheamus isn't tiny. You've got, like, the Irish paradox between Finn Balor and Sheamus, where you got, like, one of the biggest guys and one of the smallest guys in the main event scene that have been in the last 5 years. And I don't know. I like Sheamus. I like Sheamus and Cesaro, but it's time to split them up. I think this is their last run.
Well, see, the thing about Sheamus, they've tried Sheamus as a main eventer so many times, and the only time it worked was the first time. Yeah. And since then, it hasn't been there.
I don't know. He held the belt last year.
Yeah, but it was like, that was more about Roman. Like, Sheamus.
I agree, but in order to get your face over, and Roman is not going over in spite of everything that they've done to build him, and Sheamus was not part of the problem. Sheamus is a great heel. He can work anything they put him in. He was the perfect heel to run up against Roman when Seth was out.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Maybe I think Sheamus would have benefited from going to SmackDown, because SmackDown does need another
I agree.
top guy.
I thought Cesaro was going to SmackDown for sure, and it's this second time around I was surprised that he's still on Raw.
Well, hopefully they do something with Cesaro, because people have been waiting on it for like 4 years now.
Yeah, if he doesn't, that's another guy you're going to see Impact come knocking for. So,
well, next match we got Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt.
Orton retains.
Well, it's now a non-title match.
Well, that's right. That's right. Because, Jinder Mahal ran off with the belt. I don't know. I think Orton wins. I think it's how you tie up the feud, because Orton's always been a tweener. But if you got a face and the heel in this one, Wyatt's obviously the heel. And they're pushing towards him doing something with Finn Balor, or they wasted a really good promo 2 weeks ago.
I just think Bray needs a win, man. Like, Bray is always mistreated. Like, okay, the match Randy and Bray had at WrestleMania could have been 10 times better. But they want to do all this weird. They want to make Bray like a new Undertaker and do all this weird crap around it. Yeah. And it's like, Bray can have good matches. He can have a good match with Randy Orton. But for whatever reason, they decided to give us cockroaches.
Yeah. But, I don't know, dude. And that's the weird thing is, where did Eric Rowan wind up in the shakeup? Is he on Raw or is he on SmackDown?
He's on SmackDown.
He's on SmackDown.
Yeah.
You got the last member of the Wyatt family.
Right.
So the Wyatt family's done.
Right. Rowan needs to be with someone. I think Harper will be okay. Strowman's obviously okay, but Rowan needs to be with somebody.
He's never stuck around from injury or whatnot. He hasn't been around long enough to be able to build a character on his own.
Well, they tried to give him the solo push the first time they broke him up. He was the face, and like I said, it just didn't work.
That's what I'm saying. He hasn't been around long enough to do anything. He's there and he gets hurt.
Yeah, but so I guess we're in agreement on Randy and Bray. Bray needs to win, but I just can't see them beating their champion.
I don't see him doing it. Like, especially with it a non-title match. If you're gonna try and build Jinder Mahal,
right? You can't have your champion getting beat, and then he comes back and beats your guy who never beats him.
But then again, look at the way they've been booking everything the last few weeks. Jinder Mahal hasn't really gotten a push, but
true. Like back in the day, I could call it easier. But
well, he's gotten a push. He just hasn't gotten a build.
Right.
So,
like I said, back in the day, I could call this stuff easier, but now they just book so nonsensical that
it's like they set up a dartboard and they throw it, and whoever gets hit wins.
I think Vince just said, you know what, they're going to buy it anyway, so screw it.
Yeah.
I think that's
whatever Vince is smoking has got to be great, dude.
All right, we got Neville, Austin Aries for the Cruiserweight Championship.
Aries.
I said that for Mania, and they kept it on Neville. And Neville is the best thing about this Cruiserweight division.
I agree, but I still think it's Aries.
All right.
Well, I don't think you do the exact same match twice in a row with the same not a championship match. Like, yes, we've seen it before, but Aries is getting over as much as anybody in the Cruiserweight division is going to get over right now. If they want to keep a push in that direction to validate the Cruiserweight division right now, the title has to go on Aries. If they want to stagnate it and keep running in circles like they've been doing since it came out last year, Neville was the greatest shot in the arm that division's gotten because it came in stale, and that's not good.
It came in Kota Ibushi, that's the guy's name.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it came in very stale. I think they need Kota Ibushi in the division. I like Cedric Alexander too.
Yeah.
But like I said, Neville's the one that had been around. Everybody knew that face. And just saying Neville's under 205, looking at him next to all these other guys, I'm like, man, I don't know if Neville's under 205.
No, he's not.
Because he's solid muscle, and muscle is heavy.
That's kind of my thing, dude. Well, same thing with Finn Balor. He's like 5'11" and 190. I don't think there's any fat on that guy. That's why I don't like the Cruiserweight title. Is you've got all of these guys that could put on these hellacious matches in that division that aren't doing it because you've got a class division instead of a style division between them. It's like, think about AJ Styles could do a fantastic match with anybody on there. Jeff Hardy. Are you going to tell me you don't want to see Jeff Hardy and Neville?
That would be nice.
The way it's set up right now, you're not going to see that match.
Yeah.
So,
man, it does kind of suck for Austin Aries because he's one of the small guys that carries himself like
he carries himself like
6'5".
Hogan in the 80s.
Right.
Yeah.
You would think Austin Aries is 6'5", he just carries himself like he's going to beat you up.
Yeah.
But all right. We split on that, but let's go to our next match. Seth Rollins, Samoa Joe.
I think it's going Rollins. I want Samoa Joe to get it.
I'm inclined to agree with you. I think Joe needs to win more than Rollins.
I agree.
But like they could go, I don't know, they could go either way, man.
Hey, they're both great workers. They're both great at what they do. Their characters are very well developed. Either way it goes, it's going to be interesting for the storyline. Joe needs to win.
Right. So, no doubt. I do agree that Joe needs to win. But I think, like you said, either way it goes, they're going to have this. I think they have this storyline planned out.
Yeah.
Like it seems like they have some stuff planned out with certain guys, and they know what they want to do.
Well, they've got Joe set up as Triple H's guy, and Triple H and Stephanie are gone right now.
Right.
So, if you're going to bring them back and you're going to rebuild the Authority like it was 2 years ago, Joe's your guy to build the Authority on, especially now that Kevin Owens is on SmackDown.
Right.
That is the only reason I could see Jericho winning this is if they want to keep Owens on Raw. Factions need to come back in a big bad way.
Yes, they do.
So,
well, I think we're gonna get it with the Bullet Club. I really do.
I think so too, but I want to see them as a heel faction, and
I think they're turning Finn at some point. I think this whole Bray thing is to eventually turn Finn.
There's no way you have a guy identified as the Demon King that stays a face. I say this with a Finn Balor doll hanging off my backpack, wearing a Finn Balor t-shirt right now. There's no way Finn Balor doesn't turn heel. It's the opportunity to do with Sting what WCW never did.
Right. Like I said, I think this whole Bray Wyatt feud is to turn Finn at some point.
Well, you got to set up somebody about who's badder than the devil, and Bray Wyatt's the devil.
Exactly.
So,
all right. Next match, we have Alexa Bliss and Bayley.
Alexa Bliss.
They're in Bayley's hometown, man.
I know, but that's how you build heat.
I love Bayley, man. I never want to see Bayley lose.
I don't either, and my 4-year-old daughter would agree with you.
Right.
She loves Bayley. That is her favorite everything.
I'm an Oscar fan, and when she beat Bayley, I was just like, no. Like, I don't want to see Bayley lose, ever.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I love Bayley.
And, like, I know Oscar's like the Terminator, and I'm knowing Oscar's going to win this match, and I just can't watch Bayley lose.
Here's an ego question for you. As thick as the Flair family blood runs in that company, do you think Alexa Bliss is the first champion of both shows before Charlotte is?
See, I don't know how soon they're going to give Charlotte the belt because they're turning the face. And I think they're going to hold off on the Charlotte-Naomi match and make a big deal out of it.
Yeah, and I think you could see that coming from a mile away if you were watching SmackDown the other night.
Because I think those two could really tear it down.
Yeah.
And I think they gave a little teaser. Had the other girls come in. They're going to probably do the 6-woman soon.
Yeah.
But eventually Charlotte will get that belt. And
yeah.
But I think they're saving her and Naomi for like a big match.
I think it's a great way to get heat for Alexa Bliss. And that's...
I think they're turning Sasha heel, and that's why I can't see Alexa. Because when they turn Sasha heel and, Sasha's really a heel.
I thought it was going to happen at Mania. I thought Sasha was walking out there with the title.
Me too. I did too, but
I didn't see that happening. I did not see it ending the way that it did. I didn't let my kid watch it because I knew she would cry if Bayley lost.
Well, nobody wants to see Bayley lose, man. It's Bayley,
No. But I don't want to see my 4-year-old tear up because her favorite lost. Well, she still doesn't accept that it's not real.
Well, you can't break that to her just yet. You have to.
Yeah, I know. And she's like, well, which one are friends, Daddy? And I was like, well, today they may be friends, but next week, Sasha's probably going to turn bad, baby.
What's funny is when we were younger, they took more time with storylines and heels and faces. And even when a guy did turn, they weren't immediately just on a tag team with a guy like that. It was more carefully done. I wish they would go somewhat back to that.
No, I forgot who said it. It may have been Bruce Pritchard. It may have been Jim Cornette. But somebody said they've got this video game mentality now with the way that everything's booked. And if you watch guys, they're not telling a story with their matches. They're hitting spots. They're hitting spots like Ryu throwing a fireball in Street Fighter. Right. Every single time. They're not trying to tell a story with their matches. You've got some guys who still do. You got some guys that do it really, really well. Usually they're the second and third generation guys coming in with these new cats. Seth Rollins thinks he's a video game character, man.
True. Like I said, I love the moveset on Seth, but I would prefer an AJ match. Like AJ Joe. Yeah. It looks like I remember Joe had a match in Ring of Honor with Homicide. Cause this was what made me watch Ring of Honor. Homicide, Joe, and Punk. Yeah. And he had a match with Punk. It just and low key. They look like MMA fights, the way they took the time and it just looked like real fights.
Yeah, not like that. And I'm not picking on AJ. I love AJ, but when he does that 4-hit combo thing with the spinning back fist, right. It looks fake, dude. Right. It looks like a bad video game combo, and he does some of the coolest spots in the business. Why do you need that?
Right. Because I love the Pele kick, but I'm with you on that.
And every time I see Kevin Owens do the senton into the corner of the cannonball, right. It looks like something Blanca would do in Street Fighter.
Right. You know what kills me like it's kind of different, but Sami Zayn and the Blue Thunder Bomb, you
Yeah.
never pin anybody with that, and you just always look like, dude, how about win a match with that, and then that way when you hit it in your match, it looks like you're actually going to win the match.
Or the hell of a kick.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, if you tried to do that kick in real life, you would pull your groin on both sides. Right. And I don't know who the cat was. I can't remember his name, but I think he was in the ring with Zack Ryder, and his trunks exploded, and he was out there with his da-dun-da-duns hanging out. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. It's like, I just keep expecting that. I don't want to see it, but it's going to happen to Sami Zayn.
Because, like I said, that's why I guess I'm such a huge fan of Joe. And there was a time period, 2005 to like 2009, where I liked TNA a little more. Yeah. Because Joe's matches were like real fights.
TNA was legit then, though, because they had Bischoff booking. I mean, right?
Well, they had Cornette for a while, too.
Yeah, they did. But you had other people, though. You had talent that somebody else grew with their best homegrown talent. Right. And it was a show. I mean, people want to know where Sting went between WCW and WrestleMania. He was at TNA.
Was very good in TNA.
And he put on some great stuff at TNA, except for the whole Joker Sting thing was a little weird.
Well, that's when Hogan got there, and Hogan likes it a certain way. So.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, Hogan and McMahon's vision for wrestling are pretty much similar. And so that's why he worked so well with Vince, because they had the same view.
Having Hogan on your booking committee is like being in a relationship or being married to somebody that only likes missionary. You know exactly how it's going to go every single time.
You know, I heard Bret Hart say this. He's like, Hogan's great at getting Hogan over.
Yes.
I don't know if he's great at getting anybody else over.
No.
And I think Bret Hart hit it right on the net. Like, Hogan knows how to get himself over. Yeah. Hogan knows how to make himself the man, but can he really make the next guy the man?
Nope.
And
maybe if he was a booker without being in the ring. Because Dusty Rhodes was a good booker when he wasn't in the ring. Think about it. Because if Dusty was booking and he was wrestling, Dusty always went over.
But like all the wrestlers will tell you, man, Dusty was always in the main event. Or just like Dusty, like I heard Jim Cornette tell the story of how Dusty wanted somebody over Flair. But he kept booking Flair as a champion because he respected Flair. You know, he liked Flair, but he didn't want Flair. He wanted somebody else. Just that, at least he had enough sense to know that Flair was making the money. You know,
you can see what happened with WCW with Roddy Piper, and Piper never got booked well at WCW.
Right.
So,
no, it's crazy, man. But last match, the main event of the night, the match everybody's looking forward to, or at least the match I'm looking forward to. Braun Strowman, the best booked guy in the company, and Roman Reigns.
Braun Strowman being the 80s monster heel that he is. And I keep saying it because there's something about a guy who's as big as Big Show doing a kip up like he's Shawn Michaels. To me, that says you got opportunities with this guy that you haven't had with somebody before. If anybody has a chance of making Roman Reigns look like the face of the company, Braun Strowman is the heel to do it. Whether that means he's going over now or not, I mean, yeah, Roman's going to win this one. But I don't know. I see a lot of opportunity between those two.
See, I disagree. I believe Braun is going over, and for this reason. Braun is wrestling Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. And so they have to have that as big as possible, which means Braun can't be losing before SummerSlam.
All right, then I will change my answer. I see more reason for Braun to win.
Because eventually Roman will beat him. Roman will beat him before Roman wrestles Brock.
So this is what happens then. All right, so you're saying Strowman Lesnar at SummerSlam. Yeah. Strowman beats Lesnar at SummerSlam. He takes the Universal title.
I don't know if I want to go there. I think Lesnar keeps the belt for a year.
That would make sense. I'm tired of seeing the title switch every other month.
I'm thinking Lesnar keeps the belt for a year. What I think is going to happen, Strowman wins. He fights Lesnar at SummerSlam. Lesnar beats Strowman. Strowman gets upset, tries to get back in the title picture. And then at some point in between there, SummerSlam and Survivor Series, Roman beats Strowman.
Okay.
And from Survivor Series to Mania, Roman's going to run through everybody again. And Roman's going to beat Brock at next year's WrestleMania.
If we had not seen Roman Reigns in the last 3 times that the Money in the Bank has been cashed in.
Well, see, Money in the Bank is going to be on SmackDown.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Is like if you could build towards that match of a Money in the Bank match to a triple threat between Roman, Strowman, and Lesnar, that would be a cool match, dude.
You know, a piece of me believes that they're not going to let Roman and Brock touch until WrestleMania of next year, because I think Finn may get a feud in with Brock, maybe Bray Wyatt.
I don't like, as good as Finn Balor is, I don't know how good that match is going to look with him and Brock Lesnar. Lesnar has 2 moves, dude.
But the thing about Lesnar, okay, when you look up Lesnar's height and weight, Lesnar's 6'3", like 260, right?
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, like, he looks bigger than everybody all the time.
It's because he's as wide as he is tall.
Like, the dude, if another dude that's 6'3", another dude that's 6'3" and 260 comes out there, they don't look as big or as impressive as Brock. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, Brock and Big E weigh about the same.
Yeah.
But Brock just looks so much bigger. You know, or Brock stands next to, I mean, even next to Strowman, he still looks huge. You know what I mean?
Big E and Brock would be interesting if they'd ever get those two in the same ring together, and it's not going to happen unless you got like a Royal Rumble or you got like a Battle Royale. It's not going to happen, and that sucks, dude.
Yeah.
It's like everybody from New Day is a good performer. Everybody.
Right.
As I mean, you got Kofi, where if you had like an X division instead of a cruiserweight, could you see Kofi and Jeff Hardy? That would be a badass match, dude.
They would completely tear it up.
Yeah.
Really, Kofi and pretty much most of the roster. You know, Kofi's been misused too. Because
Yeah,
Kofi got
I
pretty
agree.
over at one point in time. Much like Dolph Ziggler.
He hasn't been over since he dropped the Jamaican accent.
Right. But I think he was feuding with Randy. And, man, people were behind Kofi. Like I said, Kofi and Dolph Ziggler, to me, are the 2 most misused guys they have there.
I'll give you that. Luke Harper, too. Luke Harper, if he had a chance for his push, it was right before Mania.
Well, you know, Luke hasn't had the years of misuse, so I think they could turn it around with Luke. But with Dolph and
Cesaro.
Kofi, yeah. Dolph and Kofi got like 10 years of just on, off,
stagnant.
on, off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, both of these guys are really great wrestlers. And I thought Dolph had his chance when he won the title, when he won the Money in the Bank, and he won the title. That was his chance.
Kofi at least has a solid spot in New Day.
Right.
And New Day, heel, face, whatever they were always over.
Right. New Day's very over.
Yeah, you just hear Big E hit his spot right at the beginning of it, and everybody's in.
Well,
until
Kofi's fine now.
Yeah.
You know, it was dicey for a minute, but Kofi's fine now.
Yeah, I don't see Ziggler still being there in a year. It's like Damian Sandow. Sandow was great, but they never did anything with him.
See, the funny thing about Ziggler's a better wrestler. Like, I think that's why they're so hesitant of letting Ziggler go, because he can get in the ring and go, but
you know that one of the guys that does the mocap work for 2K, that does everybody's moves for 2K, it's not the wrestlers coming in and doing it. It's Damian Sandow.
Oh, wow.
Aaron Haddad. Yeah, he goes in. He's the guy in the mocap suit doing everybody's moves. He's a better wrestler than they've given him an opportunity to be. And if you saw him as Aaron Rex on Impact,
I did see a little.
He was good, dude. But he got tired of them and he left too.
But you know what's funny? He's a better Miz than Miz.
He is a better Miz than Miz.
You know, it's funny because Miz said it on Table for 3. He's like, how does my stunt double get more over than me?
Mizdow is, like, to me, the closest gimmick that has been as good as Broken Matt Hardy in the last 5-6 years.
Because it's funny, because the whole time he was out there, I'm looking at him on the outside.
Yeah.
Just doing moves.
Nobody's even watching the ring.
Right. It was so crazy, man.
You're watching Damian Sandow fight, or Mizdow fight the Invisible Man.
It was funny because Miz said the whole point of the gimmick was for Sandow to go in there and do all the work, and then he just come in to pin people.
Yeah.
And then it turned out Sandow was so good at what he was doing out there, Miz had to stay in the ring the whole time while Sandow was doing nothing.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah. Man, dude. We could do this all day. You know, we have to do this again,
we can.
Man.
Dude, anytime the revered Rufus Von Holloway says, come on my podcast, dude, we got to make it work.
See, everybody can't know that the Brock and Rufus
Oh,
work
I'm sorry.
together, you know.
I'm sorry. I broke kayfabe, y'all. I'm sorry.
But yeah, man, Bryan, really appreciate you coming through, man.
Oh yeah, man.
Man, okay, yeah. So the next time you come through, man, we just gotta get a. Well, we just talk random general, you know, cause man,
Yeah.
cause we haven't talked in a while anyway.
Oh yeah.
Cause you know we, you know, the Brock show. We also do regular sports shows. You know, me and my cousin gonna do the draft. Well, the first round of the draft tomorrow. So
Yeah.
you know, say you want to come on talk Tigers, cause I'm kind of pissed off at Tubby Smith. So you know, I got a lot of venting and frustration to get out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
That's Memphis is the most grizzled sports fans on the planet. Who knew it would just take Josh Pastner to make Memphis a football town?
yeah, thanks, Josh Pastner. I mean, we always want to be a football town, and you did it. But anyway, thanks, Bryan, for coming over, man.
Oh yeah, man.
Appreciate
Anytime.
it. Brock Show, we out.